The Terex AC40 is a city class crane and it's got a maximum capacity of 40 tonnes. It comes in a small Terex branded box, and this one is in the colours of Eurovia, part of the Vancy group. In fact, this model was first introduced around the year 2000, and this is the 37th version of the model made in special colours. The model takes up most of the space in the tray, but there's no instructions, although there is a small bag of parts to be fitted. So let's get the city crane ready for its transport configuration, and we'll start by peeling off some tape that allows the thread to be taken off of the winch. The winch is operated by finger and it is a bit stiff, so you won't want to do too much like this. But when you've got enough thread off, you can tie off one of the hooks and then fit it into position in transport mode, because there's a loop at the front of the vehicle. Once the hook's in place, all that's needed is to wind in the excess hoist rope using the winch. There's another neat little item to fit on the model, and that's a fender that's got some chevrons, and it's also got a number plate. It's plastic and it clips on to the boom top. Once you've done that, the configuration of the front is complete. And the last item to add is the mini boom extension, which has its own carrying box. Looking underneath, there's no detailing as such, the modelling is purely functional. But the tyres are nice and they're mounted on good looking wheels. At the back there are painted lights and decent graphics, and it's good to see a realistic number plate. The outrigger beams and pads are plastic and the screw threads are visible, and they bend a bit if you ask them to hold up the weight of the model. The detailing of the cab also reflects that it's an older model with no mirrors or wipers, but the Eurovia graphics are sharp and look good. The detailing of the boom in the body is all simple, but the graphics make it look smart. One nice touch on this version of the model is that the pulleys are metal, although those inside the hook block are still plastic. Let's try out the city crane on the streets of the Cranes Etc. metropolis. And it's a heavy model, so it rolls in a smooth quality way. And if we pitch it up and look underneath, we see each of the wheels turns independently. Steering has been implemented on all of the axles with the rear pair linked together. And the overall range of movement is very good, so you can simulate the very tight turns that a city class crane would make. Also, if you want to scare the bejesus out of people at the local supermarket, you can set the steering and run the crane in crab mode, and that gives it a certain style. Now we've got the crane on site, so let's set up the outriggers. The beams pull out easy enough, and it's just a matter of unscrewing the pads. If you want to, you can extend the pads far enough in order for the crane to be supported wheels free. With the stabilisers out, we'll take off the fender from the end of the boom, and then release the hook from its transport position. At this point, you then have to take a deep breath to raise the boom, and that's because even though this is a small model, that boom is very stiff. Still, lifting the boom is what your hand is for. The rotation of the crane works quite well. It rotates smoothly without any rocking, but again it's a bit stiff, so your finger muscles get a bit of a workout. So it's onwards and upwards with the boom. The telescopic sections just pull out in the usual way, and they lock at full extension using the usual locking pin method. And when the boom is fully telescoped out, you get quite a big model. How big? Well, there's only one way to find out. Let's tape it up. And it's about 26 inches or 65 centimetres. Also good is the boom profile, which has a good geometry and is realistic. There is one other configuration option available on the model, and that is to fit the small boom extension or runner. This is an all plastic part and it clips into place into holes on the boom head. And once it's fitted into place you can adjust the angle just a little bit because part of it is telescopic. Oh well, I suppose it's always nice to be able to adjust the angle of your boom head. This model was first introduced at the turn of the century, so its detailing is not up to modern standards. But there's no doubting its strength and build quality, and the functionality is good. Only 300 have been made in this colour scheme and it's recommended.